Tonight's lesson is on the zero power rule. We're going to try to explain why when you take a number and raise it to the zero power, you always end up with 1. So the first thing we're going to do is complete a few tables. At this point, I'm sure you've realized I love looking at patterns and seeing if from patterns I can develop a rule for myself. So I'm going to complete the second table with you and then ask that you complete the first table on your own. Let's take a look down that second table. If we look, we see we have a 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 3rd, 3 to the 2nd. So it appears as though our base is a 3 and we're just going down. We're going 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 to 0. Let's talk about what's 3 to the 4th. 3 to the 4th we know means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. So our value is 81. 3 to the 3rd means 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. 3 squared means 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And rather just saying, okay, 3 to the 1st means 1 factor of 3. That means my value is 3. I'm actually going to look at a pattern going down this table. Do you have any idea how to get from 81 to 27? And then from 27 to 9? We can actually use a division here. 81 divided by 3 is 27. If you don't believe me, check it on your calculator. 27 divided by 3 is 9. This pattern can continue. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And that makes sense because if we have 1 factor of 3, we just write out 3. And now to get 3 to the 0, we could continue this pattern of dividing by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 3 to the 0 power is actually 1. What I need for you to do is I need for you to try out that first table on your own and then come on back and we'll talk about it. All right, hopefully you paused the video and then came back. So again, in this table, it appears as though our base is 2, and if we go down 4, 3, 2, there's 1, there's 0, and our goal here is going to be what's 2 to the 0 power. 2 to the 4th, you know, is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 16. 2 to the 3rd, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 2 squared, 2 times 2 is 4. Now we're going to look at a pattern moving down this table. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I can keep using this division by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and that makes sense because the exponent of 1 means we just have 1 factor of 2 written out. So now we can do 2 divided by 2. And what's 2 divided by 2 on our calculators? 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 2 to the 0 also happens to be 1. I'm going to try to describe to you or try to show you why 2 to the 0 is 1 or 3 to the 0 is 1. First of all, if I have 2 to the 0 power, can you agree that that's the same as 1 times 2 to the 0? 1 is our multiplicative identity. We can take any number, multiply it by 1, and we get that number back. Multiplying something by 1 does not change the value. So that's 1 times, well, this right here says we have 0 factors of 2. So that means how many times do we write 2 out? We don't write it out any times. Doesn't mean there's a 0 involved here. It means there's 0 factors of 2. 0 means we have no factors of 2 running around. So 1 times, we don't need to write anything here because we actually have 0 factors of 2 running around, which is why 2 to the 0 is 1. Again, it's that coefficient because 1 times 3 to the 0 won't change the value. How many factors of 3 do we have running around? We don't have any factors of 3 running around. So that's how we know 3 to the 0 is just 1. We're going to try to describe it a few different ways this evening, but that's a start to it. So 0 power rule, any base powered by the 0 exponent equals 1. X to the 0 is 1. 5 to the 0 is 1, a to the 0 is 1, 5a, that whole item raised to the 0 power is 1. So 0 factors of a base equals 1. That makes sense. You don't have any factors running around for that base. and every power has a coefficient of 1. You can always write a coefficient of 1 out in front and it won't change the value. That could say 1 times 5 to the 0, 1 times a to the 0, 1 times 5a to the 0. 0 factors of 5, bye-bye. 0 factors of a, bye-bye. 0 factors of 5a, bye-bye. You're just left with 1. 1 can be written in front of any expression. We can always write a coefficient of 1 in. So let's show that the following expression equals 1 in 2 different ways. So what we're going to do for this one is y to the 4th over y to the 4th. I'm going to first use my division. So my law of exponents. What do I do when I'm dividing and I have the same base? Well, for my division law of exponents, when I'm dividing and I have the same base, I keep my base. When you're dividing exponents, you'll remember you keep the base and you subtract the exponents. So my base, oops, sorry about that, I jumped a slide. So my base in this case was a y, so I keep my base of y and I subtract my exponents, 4 minus 4. 4 minus 4 is 0, that's y to the 0 power, and we've just discussed y to the 0 is just 1. Another way you can show that to yourself, if you're uncomfortable with that, if you have y to the 4th over y to the 4th, write out 4 y's on top, write out 4 factors of y on the bottom. Y divided by y, just a fancy form of 1. Y divided by y, just a fancy form of 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1, so 2 ways to go about that. I'd like you to try this one on your own. I'd like you to take a few minutes and simplify that expression. You're going to need to pause the video and then come on back. All right, hopefully you pause the video. Anything, no matter how complicated it looks, raised to the 0 power is always 1. Done. That's all the work we need to show. State whether or not the following expressions are equivalent. So you're going to take a minute, simplify each of the expressions given, and then we're going to decide if we end up with the same value. Pause the video, try it out, and then come on back. All right, hopefully you pause the video. I'm going to work with my first expression here. I know a to the 0 power is 1, plus I know b to the 0 power is 1. I need to keep those in parentheses. I can't lose my parentheses. And then I know a to the 0 power is 1. Order of operations. We work with in parentheses first. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then I still have this 1 on the outside. What operation do I assume is here? If I don't see an operation, I assume it's multiplication. 2 times 1 is 2. So we're hoping that this expression also turns out to be 2. So a to the 0 is 1, plus b to the 0 is 1, keeping my parentheses, times b to the 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, times 1 is 2. Those expressions sure are equivalent. They both actually are 2. You're going to answer the following reflection question for class tomorrow and be ready to share your response. It says, what is the value of the following expression? Explain how you determined your answer. So you're going to try to work this out. Within parentheses, you have 3 to the 3rd minus 2 to the 2nd plus 6 divided by 1/2, all raised to the 0 power. You're going to figure out what that is as a simplified expression and then try to explain in words how you found your answer. Try to have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.